In 2012, Marvel Studios released The Avengers, a movie that grossed over $1.5 billion and became a worldwide phenomenon. It became the third highest grossing movie of all time, only behind Titanic and Avatar. This colossal success justified Marvel's incredibly risky game. When they planned their cinematic universe, they didn't even have rights to their most iconic characters, such as Spider-Man or X-Men. Marvel started their franchise with not the most recognizable characters outside comic book circles. Characters such as Iron Man, Captain America, Thor. The Avengers made much more money than everyone probably expected. In 2012, this proved that in the near future, comic book movies would be dominating box office, like never before. Sure, there were extremely successful comic book movies before, but the MCU launched the popularity of comic book movies and comic book characters to the next level. Even people who never read comics became interested in superheroes. This tremendous success culminated in Avengers Infinity War and Avengers Endgame. Two movies together grossed almost $5 billion. In between Endgame and the first Avengers movie, other companies attempted to start or give new life to their own cinematic universes and superhero franchises. Warner Bros. Launched their DCEU, which was also supposed to be a cinematic universe, but it collapsed only after 5 movies due to a lot of different reasons. Surprisingly though, we're still getting the DCEU movies to this day, even though this franchise is set to be rebooted in the near future. Fox started the Deadpool movie series and kept making X-Men movies of different quality. There was also a Fantastic Four movie in 2015, of which everyone, understandably, preferred to completely forget. Sony rebooted the Spider-Man franchise with Andrew Garfield, but Amazing Spider-Man didn't satisfy the studio, so the character was lent to Marvel. While Marvel was exploiting Peter Parker in the MCU, Sony started their own cinematic universe, with Spider-Man villains, and without Spider-Man himself. After No Way Home, they tried to bring Andrew Garfield, but Garfield politely turned down the offer. 2018 was probably the peak of the superhero movies craze, but it's been almost 5 years since then. This might sound aggravating, but in 2023, out of 6 superhero movies that were released, not counting animated Across the Spider-Verse, only 1 movie didn't bomb at the box office. Interest in superhero movies has been on a steady decline since COVID-19 pandemic, but in 2023 it became obvious that people lost interest. Even MCU doesn't guarantee money anymore, as people demonstrably ignore the Marvels, so that Marvel Studios hastily delays their movies, hoping that a long break will reinvigorate audiences' interest. But nothing can be predicted, obviously. Some people are quick to say that people just got tired of superheroes after so many years. Truth be told, people didn't really get tired of superheroes. But they absolutely got tired of mediocre, safe, toothless superhero stuff that Marvel and others have been making for over a decade. And 2 examples to prove this point are 2 Amazon shows, The Boys and Invincible. One is a satire on our society, politics, consumerism and obsession with brands. Another one is a genuine superhero story. Let's begin with Invincible. The best thing about this story, whether the show or the comics, but in this video I'm focusing on TV shows, is that characters feel real, and they face actual real human challenges and struggles, despite having mind-blowing abilities. The main character of Invincible is a teenage boy named Mark Grayson, whose father is the most powerful superhero in the world, known as Omni-Man. Omni-Man is adored by practically everyone, and he leads a team of superheroes called Guardians of the Globe. However, Omni-Man has a very dark secret. The secret is that he comes from an interstellar fascist empire of the Vulturamites that conquers and subjugates entire civilizations. Mark inherits his father's powers. He learns that his father is a dangerous interstellar fascist that came to conquer the Earth. This is the truth Mark has to live with. He genuinely wants to be a hero. He genuinely wants to do good stuff and help people. But the shadow of his father looms over him incessantly. Mark is afraid of becoming like his father. In the second season, others don't really trust Mark because he is Omni-Man's son. We see that Mark has his father's ruthlessness in him, which he tries really hard to suppress. He tries to live with this horrible legacy left by his father. Mark is a morally grey character with a lot of internal struggles. It is impossible to imagine Peter Parker or Kamala Khan facing similar challenges in the MCU. The MCU presents idealistic versions of superheroes. Superheroes are inherently good and always strive to do good and be better. Superheroes might cause destruction of entire cities, but only because they're fighting villains and saving the world. There is no moral ambiguity. Even when Captain America and Iron Man are arguing, they are essentially both on the same side. They both want good for people. But Tony Stark believes that obeying the government is for the better because the government wants to prevent superheroes from destroying entire cities and keep them in check. Steve Rogers, on the other hand, believes that the government simply wants as much control as possible over superheroes, to limit their freedom and use for the government's own nefarious purposes. Tony and Steve do not have fundamental disagreement. Tony doesn't believe that sacrificing a lot of people to stop a supervillain from killing even more people is acceptable. Both Cap and Iron Man are good characters who want the same but have disagreement about methods. They both believe that nobody should die. This idealistic and uncynical version of superheroes must have a place too. But for years, almost all superhero stories were about inherently good idealists. Even Deadpool and Matt Reeves' The Batman. Even in Sony's universe, the characters are much closer to superheroes than to supervillains, or at least anti-heroes. But Invincible offers some fresh perspective. We know that Peter Parker will remain a good guy. But who knows how Mark's story will turn? Will he be able to defeat his Vulture side and be a hero for Earth? Or will he succumb to it and join his father's fascist conquest? The second season shows that there are multiple other universes, and in most of them Invincible joins Omni-Man, and even exceeds him in his evil ruthlessness. What will happen to Invincible from our universe? This is the type of morally grey main protagonist that mainstream superhero cinema has been lacking. Only Joker comes to mind, but Joker is a villain anyway. Invincible is a story that isn't afraid to be sincere or violent. So many big budget superhero movies simply lack this sense of sincerity, trying to appeal to as many people as possible, so they are essentially stuck repeating the same story over and over again, but with different characters. At first, Marvel's approach was a huge success, but after 10 years nobody wants to see it anymore. Unlike Invincible, The Boys is a satire and criticism of modern culture. It criticizes mainstream politics, people's obsession with brands, celebrities, capitalism, consumerism, nationalism. The only difference between our world and the world of The Boys is that their world actually has superheroes. Superheroes are treated like celebrities. They're like media faces and not actual heroes who help actual people. They only help themselves and the corporation Vought that created them in the first place to make money. Vought sells superhero merchandise, produces superhero movies, news, fast food restaurants, and even bottled water. The Boys is an extremely cynical show, and it feels fresh after tens of completely uncynical movies. The Boys is a decadent postmodernist debauchery, something that mainstream media failed to give people. But it's not just a deconstruction of the superhero genre, it's also a very intriguing story with morally ambiguous characters that can do both good and horrible things. Ironically though, the MCU really wanted to be as uncynical and sincere as possible, but ended up eventually not having anything truly sincere left. Invincible and The Boys are very different shows, despite a lot of similarities. The creator of Invincible, Robert Kirkman, loves superheroes, while the creator of The Boys, Garth Ennis, hates them. Yet, both similarly resonated with audiences. Both shows gave viewers something fresh and exciting, some new perspective on established mediums. But it wouldn't have happened without both shows being cleverly written and filmed. Standard blockbuster superhero movies do not catch viewers' attention anymore, and this year proved it beyond any doubt. Either make a creative-driven, passionate project that has something to offer and that can make the audience think, or follow the fate of The Flash and The Marvels. One thing is for sure, the era of MCU-styled superhero movies and shows is behind us, and it's time to move forward.